Welcome to the Rachel Ferrell Show, where we talk about real estate, real marketing, and real life. I'm your host, Rachel Ferrell. I'm so glad that you are back for week 2 of the Rachel Ferrell Show 2.0. This is season 2, episode technically 2, but also it feels like episode 4 because we've done a lot of work, introspective processing, as we are revamping the show, doing it consistently, releasing a new episode every other Tuesday, and it's just filled with lots of fun stuff. Me and my friend Trent are just kind of shooting the breeze.
Indeed we are. Breeze shooting around here.
I like to keep it PG around here.
Yeah, you're shooting the breeze.
Shooting the breeze.
All right.
Okay, so today we would like to talk about one other thing that I did this summer.
What is that?
We're going to talk about the movies. Trent, when was the last time you saw a movie?
I went and saw Jesus Revolution.
Did you?
It was fire.
Was it?
I want to watch it again.
Was it like hellfire or was it just like fire?
Just
like
fire,
good?
fire. Just
Okay,
fire,
good.
fire.
I mean, Jesus Revolution, like
yeah, I mean,
lots of
it was
opportunities there.
powerful. I actually forgot that was the last movie I saw. I haven't seen anything.
What year was that?
This one, I think. This one, I'm pretty sure.
Oh,
yeah, it was a good one.
I feel like I need to go.
no, it was good. It was really cool.
Good. I'm glad to hear that.
You should watch it. I feel like you would.
I probably would
appreciate it. It's like the hippie movement and all that stuff back in the day. And
nice.
yeah, it was cool.
Hold
all
on.
in the 70s and whatnot.
I am writing this down.
Yeah. Shouts to Jesus, right?
Definitely be watching that. So I went to the movie theater with my friends, Becca and Melody, for the first time in a long time. So the last time I went to the movies was before JD was born.
Wow.
And it was like Nick and I had just gotten married.
Wow.
And we saw Anchorman 2.
Wow.
It's been a solid 10 years.
Wow.
Yeah. But like a movie theater. So I want to be
right.
transparent. Like we have been to the drive-in movies because we have them. Like
cool.
We lived in Woodbury area for a little while. And so we went to the drive-in movie theater there. And then I saw Secrets of Dumbledore.
Hey.
At the drive-in.
Big Harry Potter person, huh?
Am I?
Yeah.
Yeah, I totally am.
You totally are.
I mean, we could go down a big old rabbit hole of that.
I
will slot a Harry Potter.
What was it? Harry Potty?
A Harry Potter episode.
It's a Harry Potty. All right.
We're gonna talk about Harry Potties later and how to prep your home for a sale. But right now we're gonna talk about the movie that I went to go see. Went and saw the Barbie movie, and it was the day that it was released, and I went to the AMC.
Wow.
In Murfreesboro.
Oh, you fancy, huh?
Okay, so the last time I went to a movie at that location was back when it was like the 90s and Aladdin's Castle was still there, and they had like the carousel inside. Like you left the movie theater and you begged your parents to get on the carousel, and you only got on the carousel if your grandparents took you to the movie theater. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that was a little before my time, but yeah.
Were you not in Murfreesboro at that time? Oh man,
I know.
Murfreesboro.
Sounds like quite a time to be alive.
In the like Chuck E. Cheese was not there. No, backtrack. Aladdin's Castle was like the Chuck E. Cheese.
I've definitely done a fair share of damage in Aladdin's Castle. Yeah. We had one in Asheville.
So
I grew up in Asheville, so not Nashville, but Asheville, North Carolina.
Gotcha.
Carolina kid over here.
Oh, we're gonna have to talk about that later because
like we have before, but
when we go to Virginia we're gonna come back, and like there's some places we wanted to stop in the Carolinas.
Yeah, you should definitely stop in Nashville. It's awesome.
Okay, cool.
Yep.
All right.
Good talk.
The Barbie movie was fan-freaking-tastic.
I heard you really like it. Big Barbie fan.
I was a big Barbie fan at 32 for sure.
How about
when I was a kid?
Yeah, not so much Barbie.
Not so much Barbie, man.
Just a little higher up.
It was funny because when the Barbie movie came out, it was like all of a sudden all of us millennials were really dissecting what toys we played with as a kid. And like, it's not that I didn't have Barbies. Right. It's that Barbie was not my primary doll of choice.
Okay.
I was an American Girl doll.
You fancy. Again, you're kind of fancy.
If bougie childhood American Girl doll is Kirsten, who got on a boat from Sweden in the early 1800s with her hope chest and a wooden spoon.
We still remember this.
Then absolutely I was bougie.
Okay, cool.
Like, I have to
Who's
survive all of the illnesses that come with traveling across the seasickness,
yeah,
the tack that
yeah.
you have to eat on the boat because you're gonna starve.
Man, this sounds serious.
It
It's
was.
a little sounds a little traumatic as well.
I mean, the drama was there,
Oh man.
and it was incredible, and I loved every minute of it.
All right,
So
so I forgot this. We did go over it one time, but who's your favorite American Girl doll?
Kirsten was my,
Oh,
like, number 1 girl,
oh wow.
and then Molly was my second.
Okay,
She was in, like, the 50s,
okay.
and she made victory gardens, and her mom
Wow.
made her sit at the table and eat peas, and she didn't want to, but that
Nobody
was all
likes
they
peas.
had.
Do you like peas?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Not a big pea guy. Sorry. I feel like I'm sharing too much on this
I
episode.
mean, like, the potty jokes on here today are, like, in case nobody knows, I'm a boy mom,
Yeah,
and
it adds up.
it all adds up,
Man,
but
all right.
she didn't eat her peas, and they
Don't
were
blame her.
cold, and she had to eat them,
Ew.
and that was all that
Ew,
they
cold
had.
peas?
I know,
Even worse.
it was, but then, like, she was super cute, and she had this, like, 4th of July thing where she had to, like, dress up and, like, dance this thing. I don't know, it just the American Girls they had the books that came with them. Felicity was another one I really liked. She was, like, your classic. I mean, like, it makes sense that I love Bridgerton and any sort of, like, royal family, whatever, whenever it comes to Felicity. She came with a bedpan.
Wow.
So, speaking of potty humor,
All the potty references.
all comes in.
Okay.
But yeah, I was an American Girl doll girl, and I was in a Barbie world there for
Oh
about an
boy.
hour and a half at
See what you did
AMC.
there.
Yep, that's what I did. What was super funny is that they have, like, Wild and Crazy Barbie. I can't remember what they called her. She's quirky Barbie, and it's played by Kate McKinnon, who is one of my absolute favorites.
She's a legend.
She is so funny.
She is funny.
Okay, so my favorite skit of hers was when that lady jacked up the Jesus painting. She was going to restore the Jesus painting, and
Okay.
it looked like a scroll, and it had Jesus' face on it. And so they had her come on to it was when Seth, what's his face? I want to say McFarlane,
Myers.
that's not the right one. Myers, there it is.
Nice.
When he was doing the weekend updates, and he had her come on, and he was like, "What were you thinking?" And she was like, "Jesus came to me in a dream." And she
I
said,
know what you're
"Jesus,
talking about.
why are you
That is
looking
funny.
like a shark?" With his beady eyes and the scroll that wraps all the way around his neck. And I mean, it was so stinking funny. I reference that more often than I should. Give me my money. I have to buy my wine. It's so funny. And so anytime she's in anything, I'm like, okay, I'll watch it.
That's fair.
But she was crazy Barbie. And it reminded me of this one time when I was a kid, because again, I was an American girl in a Barbie world. And I had these friends, and they had 3 daughters, and they had tons of Barbies. And back then there was a super cool Barbie that came out that you could cut its hair and it would grow back, right?
Wow.
At least that was the way it was sold to us as 10-year-olds. And
Wow.
so I go over to their house and I pull out the tote of Barbies, and I'm like, "Oh my gosh, it's hair regrowth Barbie." And my dad was talking to their dad about some hunting something, I'm sure. The girls weren't there. It was just me, and they were like, "Here's this tote of Barbies. Have fun." I cut Barbie's hair because it's hair regrowth Barbie, right? The trick is you have to put the Velcro piece of hair on there. And then you cut the Velcro hair, you take the Velcro off, you put the new set of hair on it so that you can cut it again.
Oh boy.
So I chopped up Barbie's hair thinking it's going to grow back. I mean, biology
I
at
mean,
9 years old
that's what you were
is
promised. You were misled.
Mattel. I mean, it's their fault. It's not
I
my fault.
mean, that's a poor marketing campaign.
It really was
I know we're trying to steer clear of the marketing talk, but
very challenging.
that's a little bit.
How do you market to somebody who does not understand hair
Someone-
follicles and living beings versus
I mean, it sounds like you were pretty up to speed on how it should work,
yeah,
but you were just misled. I mean, I
absolutely.
yeah.
And I was given a tote full of Barbies and a pair of scissors. So like, go to town, sister.
One would
Anyway.
only expect that to happen.
Correct.
Yeah. Okay.
Absolutely. So I don't know what the thoughts and feelings were of the girls afterwards. I never followed up when I realized I had messed up. So here I am 20 years later.
Is this the first time you confessed this?
Well, on video.
Okay. Now we know.
Yeah,
Hey,
absolutely.
it's
So
an
as I'm
incriminating-
watching like Crazy Barbie, and she's like, "Why are your legs always in the splits?" I'm like, "It's Crazy Barbie. That's what
Crazy
you do."
Barbie. Yeah.
But yeah, it gave me flashbacks to accidentally on purpose cutting Barbie's hair on a
mean-
Barbie that I did not own.
Can't win them all.
Cannot win them all.
Yeah.
I never cut the American Girl doll's hair.
I mean,
And I really
could you?
struggled with taking their hair down. Like, you had the American Girl hospital that you could send them to where they would like fix them back to factory settings
Wow.
so that Kirsten's hair had the
Oh, wow.
beautiful
Like you would send them off and they
loops.
would actually. I
Mhm.
thought, okay.
It was the same way with like the Bitty Babies. The American Girl line had a Bitty Baby doll, which was a baby doll, and I can't remember who poked its eyeball in, but one of my siblings, I don't know, crap
How many
happens.
siblings do you have?
2.
Oh, I didn't know that.
I am the oldest of 3.
You're the elder? You're the elder?
I am.
That's cool. That adds up
Does it?
a little bit.
Ugh.
I
The
don't know.
overwhelming, crippling anxiety adds up to you being the oldest child.
Hey, something like that.
Something like that. So somebody poked an eyeball in and we sent it to the
And they send
American
it
Girl
back?
hospital. Yeah, and then they fix the eye and they send it back.
Wow.
It was a totally cool thing. And they still have them. Now they have like the millennial version, which just really grinds my gears.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
Should we save that for another one?
We should. I was talking to JD the other day, my oldest, and he was asking about black and white TVs. He has gotten into Gilligan's Island, which is great. Like,
Man, classic.
it is a classic, and it's black and white, of course. And so he was asking me questions about black and white TV, and like, I'm cool with him asking me the question, like, was there black and white TV when you were a kid? Because he doesn't know.
Right.
And I said, no, they had no, whenever I was a kid, it was always color TV. And he was like, oh yeah. And I said, yeah. And he said, way back then. And I'm like, yeah, what year was I born? And he was like, I think the 1920s. I was like, I don't think TV was even invented in the 1920s. Thanks,
That
bud.
is correct. I don't think it was either.
But we had to go through the generations of like, my grandparents didn't have a TV in their house, and then their parents got a TV, and then my mom, you know, like it cut off at 10 p.m. when they were
Yeah.
asking you in the 80s, where are your kids? And then it transitioned to the color TVs. I
Man.
have a video of my grandparents opening up one of those like wooden box TV sets. Like, you know what I'm
Yeah.
talking about? Like,
Yeah.
it's a big, like it's a piece of furniture.
Yeah, those things were
TV.
massive. Yeah.
They were.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
this was 1990. Christmas of 1990. It
It's
was
a
the
good
year
year.
before I was born. And they were opening up gifts for me because, you know,
Dang, you're
firstborn,
young.
everything.
Sorry.
Am I?
Yeah.
It's the Botox.
Okay.
We'll talk about that later.
Okay.
Anyway,
Go back to
the
episode 1 as well.
yeah,
Shouts to
just
Definite Wellness.
refer back to. And so like I'm watching my grandma and grandpa open this, and like Oma is crying. She is so excited about this giant piece of
Yeah.
furniture
Mhm.
that is now a TV. That was not a PG. I'm so sorry. And then like they go to turn it on and they're videoing as Papa is turning it on and trying to figure out how to like change the channel.
Yeah.
Oh, the picture is so clear. I'm like, the picture was not clear.
Yeah.
Nothing was clear in the
We're-
90s.
we're-
We were
we're
still
quite
getting over
spoiled
lead
nowadays.
poisoning.
Yeah. You're not wrong.
It was a whole thing.
You're not wrong.
Anyway, so all of that to say, the Barbie movie was fantastic. There are some folks out there, like, it got so super politicized, and I felt really funny about that because I felt like the message was pretty clear. It was definitely woman-centric. Like, if Toy Story and Legally Blonde had a baby,
Wow. That's a cool way to put it.
that's the Barbie movie.
Sweet.
It had, like, just the right amount of nostalgia, and there
Mhm.
was a nice little, like, women's empowerment message. Margot
I
Robbie.
thought it was pretty heavy
Did you
on that,
watch
right?
it?
I haven't seen it yet, but I've
Oh.
heard a few people talking about it on podcasts that I respect, and they're like, it was so good, and there's a lot of great things, and it is. They said it was like super inclusive and also like very much women empowerment.
It was.
I was like, I feel like we need both of those things.
You do.
Mhm.
Well, and like, I mean, we're not going to get into all of the
Sure,
anxiety
sure,
of a
sure.
millennial 32-year-old who has 2 children and a career, but
Smart.
there are a lot of things that feel really heavy,
Mhm.
and you feel like you have to do everything. And
Yep.
there are gender roles that exist, and I do feel like it is a lot of my responsibility to make sure that my house is, you know, a safe haven for everybody, whatever.
Sure.
That kind of thing. And regardless of whether my husband totally agrees with that or not, like he helps so much inside of the space, but I still feel a huge sense of responsibility for a lot of those things in addition to having the job and making sure that everybody is. I mean, when Margot Robbie sits up and she was like, everything is not perfect. Like,
Facts.
it was that expectations versus reality. And then the main character, America, what's her face? that we haven't seen in forever, but looks beautiful right now. Like, she has aged so well. And she was like, "It doesn't have to be perfect." I don't know. It's kind of funny that you have to be reminded of that over and over again. That
Feel you.
it truly, life is a road, and I want to keep going.
Life is a highway as well, I believe.
Oh, life is also a highway. You're right.
We're silly people.
We're good at this.
All right.
That was great. So really loved that. Moving on this weekend. So we we went to church again for the first time in too long. Won't admit that. And every time I go, I look at my closet and I'm like, does Jesus really want me to show up business casual? Like, there's just not a lot in there for me to choose from that feels like, this is Rachel on the weekend and not Rachel going to, a Chamber of Commerce
Sure.
event kind of thing. And it is every time I go, I look at my closet and I'm like, this is terrible. I hate everything in here. And my closet is stuffed like to the max.
Okay.
So I came home from church on Sunday and I purged like everything, all of the things. There were things that I have not worn since before kids. There are things that did not fit. The clothes that I wore to church did not fit. And so they went in the back
Ooh,
and they are going to the attic outlet in Tullahoma, which I'm super excited about.
nice.
But I decided to do the minimalist capsule wardrobe. So I have like 30 pieces that I plan on wearing full time. And then I have like an extra closet because I couldn't get rid of everything. Like, fundamentally, I knew that I needed variety because that is the life that I lead, is variety. So I have like a closet that I can shop from whenever I'm feeling, you know,
Wild
like
and
I'm
crazy.
not totally decision fatigued. But that was weighing really heavy on me, was every single morning having to wake up and decide, like, what is it that I'm going to wear today out of this massive cluster of a closet. And so I completely reduced, and that felt really good. And it got me down this track of thinking about minimalism and how much I really like the idea of minimalism
Nice.
in certain aspects of my life. But what I would really love to do one day is to do like some kind of Venn diagram on minimalism and maximalism and like how they can intersect.
Wow.
How
That's
can I
deep.
do both?
That's deep.
I love maximalism. Like, when it comes to home decor and stuff, even though I kind of have like a mid-century vibe in my house, like, I want every wall to be covered in
Stuff.
everything. Like, I
Okay.
want to see cool stuff that makes me happy
That's fair.
inside of the spaces.
That's fair.
I want it to feel like my own space. I think a lot of times, like, people will call me and they'll say, as far as resale value goes, what should I do with my bathroom or my floors? And I'm like, well, when are you thinking about selling it? I don't know. This is really our long-term home. We'll probably be here another 5 to 10 years. And I'm like, then don't think about what the person who's going to live in it next is going to like. Like, buy what you like. If you want your
100%.
bathroom to have blue tile, put blue tile in there. If you want to paint the cabinets red, I mean, just be prepared to paint them back, but paint the cabinets red. Do the thing. And I
Follow your
find that really
heart.
funny. Follow your heart.
Yep.
But I think about that whenever it comes to maximalism. In my house, we just completely redid our bedroom, and it was this like white color just so that we could get used to the space and figure out what we wanted. And now we have like the perfect shade of blue, and I'm ready to put some stuff up
Let's
and
go.
really like feel happy in that.
I love it.
But what I also want to make sure is that my hair products are not overflowing so much that I can't breathe inside of my bathroom.
That's fair as well.
You can have both, right?
I think so.
We're about to find out
Yep.
if we can have both.
Here for it.
You'll know on the next episode if Rachel's having a complete meltdown. If the minimalism, maximalism coexistence actually works. But I figured we would talk a little bit about that too later on. What it looks like to actually prep your house to sell if you are in that world, or if you're trying to figure out like what should stay and what should go. But before we talk about that, uh, I had a couple of things I wanted to derail on that one, but I think I'll stop. Anyway, before we talk about that, I want to talk about my friend Candy over at Definite Wellness. I love her. She is fantastic. She's been working with me a little bit on my face lately. I've got a lot of acne scarring from when I was in high school, and just kind of recovering from that. I have had acne pretty much my entire life. And so there's some special things that they can do to kind of help alleviate some of the things that happen afterwards. And then obviously, you want to try and prevent. But one of the things that I love the most that we do over there is the face peels. So they have one face peel that is like a super mega, like, you're looking like a snake for like 3 days. Three is too short of a period of time. It's actually like 7 to 10 days. It's a pretty intense peel. And then they have something called the perfect peel that I call like a dusting. Like it feels like a light snowfall off of your face. And then you start seeing results then too. But what I have noticed is that consistently going and doing the things has been super helpful. So obviously there's things that you can do at home or that you need to do at home that are in your routine. But if you've got a lot of past scarring or current flare ups on your face that you can't figure out how to control, if you're going consistently and getting some of these done, regenerating your face cells, all of that kind of good stuff, she can give you all the science on it. Then you're definitely going to see some really good results. So the last peel I did with her was the like 2-week snake peel looking thing. It's called the perfect peel, and it burned so bad. It hurt really bad. Got it put on, and you want to try and like sleep on it overnight if you can. But I was up at midnight, like, all right, this is gonna come off. But after 2 days, it started peeling, and there were spots on my face that I thought were freckles that were actually like sunspots, skin damage that was coming off, and it revealed like some really incredible fresh baby skin. The boys still talk about it to this day. It was sort of a scarring process for the kids looking at me, and they were like, "Why are you doing this?" And I was like, "Because I want baby skin. I want skin like yours." And again, I'll do it again in a heartbeat. There's several things that I know that I'll be doing on repeat as the years go on, just as my yearly skincare maintenance routine. Any more words can I add to that sentence? But I love Candy over at Definite Wellness. She's got a location in Tullahoma. She has a location in Shelbyville. Mariah is the one that has been administering all of my procedures, and she is super sweet. You're in and out, you get it done, and then very shortly you have glowing skin. So shout out to Candy and everything she does for the aesthetic well-being of Tullahoma and Shelbyville.
Nice.
Yes. Okay, so let's backtrack a little bit to that minimalism piece and things that you can do inside of your home that work for you, but then also can work for anybody in the future. So if you are living inside of your house and you're looking to make renovations, to do any sort of renovations, the only thing I would ever tell people if they're renovating bathrooms is to keep a tub. Like you need at least one tub in your house. There are folks now that are trending towards like doing stand-up walk-in showers in their primary bedrooms, primary bathrooms. And that makes a lot of sense, especially if you're looking for something that is accessible, or if you don't take a lot of baths. But if you're going to resell, even if it's like a 3-2, what you would consider like a downsizing home or like a starter home where maybe there's not a family moving into it, you need to prepare for somebody that's going to have small kids that are gonna need a bathtub. So even when people are flipping houses, like if there is a single shower or a single bathroom, it's a 2-1 or a 3-1, I'll typically recommend like try and get a tub in there if a tub does not already exist, because people need tubs. If you are looking to sell your house, the market has shifted. Homes are still selling quickly, but you're going to have to do a little bit more work on the front end, and you're going to have to expect and be ready for people to start negotiating with you. They are going to offer you maybe less than what you're asking for. They're going to ask for some concessions. They're going to ask for some other things inside of that. And one of the hardest things that I have noticed as we're transitioning out of a seller gets it all market into a seller has to negotiate market is that sellers really get their feelings hurt whenever that starts happening. They're like, how dare they come in and offer me $10,000 less or ask for closing costs in this scenario? And it's like they take it personally. And it is important to recognize that while home is personal, house is business transaction. Um, so as you are preparing your home, as you are preparing to sell, you sort of have to prepare yourself mentally that for the market that you're in, that market of the moment. So as people are coming into homes these days, now they are a little bit more nitpicky. They're starting to deep dive some of the different spaces. They're not flying through it in 5 minutes and writing up an offer in hopes that they don't miss an opportunity to be considered as one of 20 offers. They're really thinking about like, is it worth this 7% interest rate for me to buy this house? Is this something that we can afford? Is it something that we're going to be able to maintain long term? And some things that you can do to help showcase your house. You know, we want to obviously create a lifestyle for the person that's going to be moving into it, but you're also looking to show somebody that this house is functional and livable in the way that it is. So reducing your stuff, speaking of minimalism versus maximalism, whenever you're listing a house, minimalism absolutely is the way to go. Usually I'll tell people like reduce your stuff by half, put it in a storage unit, and be prepared to just kind of live off of the very basics. Closets that are completely overflowing do not show well, because it's like, well, obviously there's not enough closet space in this house. You might have 15 closets, but if all 15 closets are completely overflowing, then somebody's going to look at that and feel like there's something wrong with the amount of storage space that is in your home. Another thing is painting. Like, we're kind of getting back to this, like, if you have a bunch of stuff on the wall and you've got a bunch of nail holes, somebody's going to come in and say, well, I'm going to have to patch all of this. I'm going to have to repaint everything. Go ahead and take that stuff down, patch the holes, and paint it with a like paint. Like, don't go get the sample paint from Lowe's and post it on the wall, even though you think it's the same color, because the sheens are going to be different. Get the actual right paint and go ahead and start covering that stuff up. Any loud or bold colors, I made the joke about the red cabinets, but it is true. Like, if you've got some really bold colors inside of your space, then I would definitely paint it something neutral, just so that it is, I could move into this and live with this for a little while, instead of, if I am living in this UT Vols orange room, I am going to want to strangle something all the time. So maybe painting neutral colors is going to be really important. Another huge game changer is light bulbs. If you have light bulbs that are out, go ahead and replace those. If you have rooms that have different color light bulbs, that is kind of tricky on both your eyes as you're walking through a space, but also the photography. If you want really good, clear pictures for your listing or video for your listing, having similar colors in your bulbs as you're walking through the house is going to be huge. It's going to put less work on your photographer and videographer, but it is also just going to look so much better inside of it. Light bulbs are typically something I tell people to do when they first move in anyway. I have a whole checklist for whenever you move in to a house. But this one, for sure, go ahead and check your light bulbs and trade them out. The last thing I would say is clean your house like it's a holiday, like clean everything. People are going to open up closets that you would have never thought that they were gonna open up. And they're gonna say things like, well, if this closet's not clean, I can't imagine how they're treating the crawl space, or something along the lines. Like, everything is an indicator that you have not taken care of something else. And so making sure that it is as clean as possible. If you have large pets, as much as I love dogs, like I really do love dogs, hide that stuff. Like, hide the giant bowls, because there is something about seeing a lot of animal things, dog things inside of a house that people are like, well, that attracts other animals inside of the house. It's probably really gross. There's probably pee stains places. That dog probably drank out of that giant bowl and then sloshed the water everywhere. And it's going to take years to get that smell out of the house. You really want to give people no excuse to look at your house and say, well, because this wasn't clean, something else is probably a problem. So definitely cleaning it really good is great. But I think that's really it. If you're living in your home and you think you're going to sell it in the next year to 2 years, then start thinking that direction. If you're renovating your house so that you can stay in it long term, like in 1976 when somebody built my house, they were like, this avocado green tub is going to be timeless. And for them, I'm sure they loved it. They picked it, they did it, they lived in it. And in 2023, for some reason, it still is inside of the house. Not for long, but it is still inside of the house. And I'm glad that somebody was able to live in this house for a period of time and love what it is that they picked. So you need to do that as well. If you're renovating a bathroom or a kitchen, renovate to your tastes. Don't renovate to the trends unless you like the trends, or don't renovate to anybody else's style. Renovate to your own. And then whenever it's time to sell, or you're thinking like, it's coming close to being time to sell, then we can talk about what deconstructing that looks like. But I hope that's helpful. I think we have reached the end of episode dose of season dose of the Rachel Ferrell Show. How do you feel, my friend?
I feel great.
Good.
Helpful stuff as always.
I love helpful
You
things.
kill. You just efficient. We're so underailed. I feel just
That was the most underailed.
we are on the tracks.
We are.
I like it.
We are on the tracks. we have done this. I'm going to start saying that in my life. Whenever I feel really successful, I'm like, I am staying on the tracks.
We are killing it in the track game right now.
It is good. Not the running game. Rachel doesn't run.
No, not a runner myself.
No, but
it's always a pleasure. Be sure to like, follow, share, subscribe, leave a 5-star review.
All the things.
Yep.
Until 2 weeks from now, my friends.
Goodbye.
Thanks so much for listening. A cornerstone of this show is real estate. I got into real estate to help people live outside of their mortgage by buying homes they can afford so that they can use the rest of their resources to live the life of their dreams. How do you do this? Work with great people who love people first. Whether you're looking to buy, sell, or just enjoy chatting about the market, I'm your girl. Keep listening to this podcast for the latest on the market and all things Southern Middle Tennessee. I had a lot of fun with you today. I hope you had fun too. If so, I'd love for you to share this podcast with other people. Like this episode and subscribe to the channel for more. Talk to you soon.